Do you want more? More time, more balance, more love, more sex, more money, more real, and less bullshit? This is the Women Wanting More podcast with Dr. Karen Osborne. Real life, real stories, plus real tips to get you more of what you want.
Let's talk about today's sister on becoming you. Becoming you. I love having these, the word was coming on as high-level conversations. That sounds so elitist. What's a better word for describing these conversations? Just big fucking truths, really. And the unwinding of a lot of the stuff we've been holding on to for years and decades. Like, seriously, most of us since we were kids. I know it becomes a little bit of a cliched thing to kind of be hearing this, but this is absolute truth. We are born into this world. We have experiences that happen to us. We have parents that raise us that do their absolute best, but if they have not cleaned up their wounds and their stuff, well, it just gets passed on and on and on and on, and it never ends until we decide to really kind of wake up, until we decide to tell the truth, until we decide on becoming who we really are. And you're like, that's great, Karen. I don't know who the hell I am. And I completely understand that feeling. Listen, here's what I know to be true, sister, brother. There will come something that happens in your life. Health crisis, a breakdown somewhere with relationships, midlife crisis, menopause, what else? Loss. There will have these experiences come up in your life, maybe a breakdown with financially something, where there will be essentially a fork in the road, an opportunity that is opened up for you that seems horrible at the time. Like hell, like the fucking darkest of dark. And you will have a choice of what you decide to do from that. You can choose the path of, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm going to talk about these things that, that suck in my life. I'm mad. And listen, feel all the stuff, right? Things come up, life goes sideways, not what you expected. Things happen that are not cool. Yes, feel, as my kids would say, yes, you're allowed to feel your feelings. Yes, feel your feelings. However, there then comes a time where you pick yourself up and go, what do I do now? What am I going to choose now? What is my action going to be now? What am I going to do with this experience or these experiences now? And for a lot of people, bless them, bless you if this has been you. I know this was me for a lot of times too. We tend to kind of live our life on this perpetual cycle, like a loop. And it just shows up at different times in different places based on a lot of the wounds that we are dealing with. This is the deep work of the coaching that I do now. This is why I have the Women Wanting More retreat experience coming up to really dig deep and uncover. It's like turning over a rock, right? Imagine you're in a park, you're like, oh, what's underneath this? It's like turning over these rocks to uncover what's really beneath this stuff. Because you know what? In the grand scheme of things, yes, the daily practices, yes, the, reading and journaling and meditation, all these things matter, right? Exercise, sleep, all of it matters. But the thing is we're doing so much of the surface stuff and not the deep work. And we wonder why we're nowhere closer to where we want to be. We're creating all this action on the outside, all things that we know are actions that can really move the needle to really uncover who and become who we truly are. But let's just be honest about it, okay? And I know this, I can speak this from truth with myself, and I see it with clients all the time. A lot of us are doing this, quote, inner work, and it's just busy work. We're not really dealing with the stuff at hand, right? We're just reposting stuff on Instagram and Facebook. Nothing wrong with that. I do that too. That's cool. Share that stuff, right? We just think it's it's the next podcast and it's the next book and it's the next thing outside of us that is somehow going to give us the answers that we are looking for. And that ain't it. That ain't it. It is on becoming you is about doing this deep inner work where, again, fork in the road. Am I going to choose to continue to show up as I am in my life? Or am I going to really take a look at myself? This is hard. Okay? But I want to tell you something. There's a silver lining in this. There's a beauty on this that you will never see unless you're willing to do that hard path. And here's what it is. Let me first give you a story to explain this. When I was in practice as a chiropractor, I talked about this recently on the podcast. So I don't know if this is your first episode. You've listened to all 715 today. Love you wherever you are, right? But when we had new patients come to the office, and there was a lot of education. It wasn't just about lie face down, let's get you checked, let's adjust you and have your nervous system function better. So you not only feel, but you function, you be better in life, because your nervous system controls every single thing in the body. It's your master control system. It is getting to the source, which is so interesting because the work that I do now, it's the same thing. I want to get to the source of this. Do you get it? It's the what's under the rock. It's not what's happening outside. It's what's underneath. So when we had patients that would show up in our office with headaches and back pain and digestive issues and hormonal issues and all this stuff going on, and children with behavioral stuff and all of this, there was a lot of connection what was happening in the nervous system. There was a disconnect between how their brain communicated to their body. And if it went on long enough, it would start to produce symptoms, or a lot of children behavioral stuff, or nutritional stuff, or on and on and on, right? And so when we let patients understand, and we taught them where health really comes from, right? And that the truth of the matter is, what we now know in science, the science which is called epigenetics, which means above the gene, the genes that we're born with, it's bullshit to say, well, I'm this way because of my genes. It's just not true. It's just not what science has been finding, literally for the last couple decades. Okay? You might have genes that are happening in your body that carry the cancer gene, or breast cancer gene, or prostate cancer, but it is your actions, it is the things that you do that turn to, for a simplistic way of understanding this, turn to switch on that gene or not. It has nothing to do with the genes that you were born with, which, by the way, is bad news for the pharmaceutical company. Okay, because it doesn't perpetuate the myth of, well, let me find the gene. If you carry the gene, we better get the tests, and then we better get the drugs, and we better get the, right? But what this does is realize, and this is when patients have this realization, oh shit, so my health is the way I'm at because of the choices I made. Yep. Oh, shit. And that sucks, right? Because now you just go, wait a second. So no longer is my health the responsibility of, or the result of my genes, or this is just the way that I was raised. We go, oh man, so my choices have brought me here. And that's heavy. Okay, that's hard. That's hard because you're realizing, you're like, oh, it's me. Okay, which, by the way, when I do this work with women as well too, that are willing to really begin to tell the truth, you start to see, you're like, yeah, do other people play a role in the stuff that's happening? Of course, right? But then we start to realize, we go, oh, the one common denominator that keeps showing up in all these scenarios in my life is, guess what? Me. So what we would say to patients at that point is when they go, oh my God, now here's what can happen. And you can easily go to this too when you start doing this really deep inner work. And I've seen it with clients, and I've done it with myself. Is now we start to go, oh shit, I made the wrong choices. I shouldn't have done that. If I would have done that, this would have happened. Nope. Put all that to bed. Put it aside. Give yourself grace. And what I would say to patients is this, and what I will say to you is this right now, sister. We do our absolute best with what we know to be true at the time. Okay, let me say that again. We do our absolute best with what we know to be true at the time. Meaning, again, back to the explanation with patients. If patients would say well, I didn't, it was so funny, so many of them would go why didn't I know to come to a chiropractor sooner? They might be 48 and they're like, why didn't my doctor tell me? Why? And again, they're looking for somebody else to somehow, it's their fault. Right? I go, listen, it's like asking a plumber about electrical work. They don't really understand what we do as chiropractors. It's a totally different way of seeing the body. They see it in parts and pieces. We see it as a whole. It's just different, right? It's not better. It's just different. And when they would say sometimes too, oh, I wish I would have gone sooner, or they start to realize how important it is to get the kids checked early so they don't grow into the same problems that they did, or that their husband did, or their spouse, right? Or that their whole family is dealing with. We just go, no. You did what you knew to be best with what you knew to be true at the time. Okay? But now Maya Angelou, God, I've talked about this quote a bunch of times recently, but when you know better, you do better. Okay? So now you know better, so what are your choices going to be? And here's where it can be. You get off the guilt train, you get off the shame train of, oh my God, I wish I didn't make these choices in my life. Okay? And you go, wait a second, hold on, let me follow this line of thought right now. If I am responsible for the way my health is now, okay, or with you, if I'm responsible for where I am right now in my life, and if I'm not happy where I am, but I created that, I was a piece of that, I brought this situation in, right? Or as patients, I created this within my body with my choices, then that also means that I can choose different to get different. Are you with me? You can choose different to get different now. And so regardless of where you are in your life right now and wondering where you are and God, how do I really become who I'm designed to be, of who I want to be? How do I become me? You have become who you are right now with what you knew to be true at the time. And it brought you to where you are. Okay? Wash your hands. Put a period on it. Done. Now. Next door. Who am I becoming now? Who am I going to choose to become now? Knowing that I'm going to use the word loosely, control over that. My choices now in this moment create my future. Okay? So back to patients. We would go, yes, you were responsible for where you are now. And they'd be like, beat themselves up. And I go, whoa, hold on a second. But here's what that also means, okay? Because a lot of times when it comes to our body and health, there's this fear that's built in. There's the wondering that's like, oh my God, like somehow your health has no, merit on your choices, or maybe very little. Like you could still be really healthy. Like I knew Joe down the street and he got a heart attack and he worked out 5 days a week and he did this and he, somehow thinking that somehow you're going to either, whatever that is that brought that to that person, bad luck, bad genes, like whatever, that somehow life could just throw you this and you won't know. And yes, that is possible. But the reality is that for the most place, outside of anomalies and exceptions to the rule, what brought them health in their body or lack of health in their body, that they could now choose different, that they actually did have the control to create health in their body. They were learning the tools and how to do that. They were getting the nervous system clear, which also became this cascade of like, well, let me look at nutrition now, and I want to move my body more, and I'm getting more sleep, and I'm happier, and I'm meditating, I'm drinking more water, right? It became this catalyst. And this excitement of like, I'm empowered now. Like, I no longer fear my body and fear getting sick, and like, I'm going to simply choose to do what I need to do to get well, and then I'm going to stay there. Okay, I'm going to continue to make these choices, and I'm going to give myself grace when I kind of fall off the wagon or make poor choices, or I fell off my chiropractic care for 2 months, or I fell off nutrition. Okay, cool. Get back on again. Like, just what do you want? Who are you becoming? What health do you want to create in your body? What is the vibration that you want to become? And as I said these words to these patients, I'm saying these words to you right fucking now, sister, brother. Who do you want to become now? And I'm gonna invite you to consider that the who that you want to become is actually who you truly are. It's who, it's your higher self that's like just, it's like waiting in the wings, like, let me get in the game. Come on, man, come on. I know you're getting little inklings of who we really are. And I know that you've created a who of who you believe yourself to be for all these years and decades, based on what happened, based on all the wounds, based on the subconscious program. They're just stuck in the matrix. I get it. I know everybody's doing this too. It's okay. But now is the time. We got the fork in the road. We can become. Let me in, please. Your higher self's like, let me in. Let me in. I'm ready to drop in. You're so ready to receive this, so that that you are wanting to become is who you truly are. You don't have to determine or figure, oh my God, is that the right thing? No, it's not. Listen inside, listen to your heart, listen to what you're seeing, listen to all the messages you're getting all around you, including this podcast episode today. So how do you begin this process? Well, let's give you something practical to chew on, okay? More tip for today. Open up your journal. And at the top, you're going to write, who I want to become is, and start writing. Who I want to become is, and start writing. Who I want to become is. Don't stop it. Don't censor it. Just free flow. There might be stuff, by the way, that comes out of your pen onto paper that you go, whoa, what's that? Okay, don't just, whatever. You're writing, it's words, okay? It's not like you're writing it, you're like, oh my God, that means that has to happen. No, you're writing it. You're starting to get these things out of your heart, out of your soul, out of your mind, and onto paper. Who am I becoming now? Who do I want to be? Like whatever resonates with you, right? Who do I want to become? And see what begins to surface. Okay, see what begins to surface. Now, listen, some of you will take these more tips and you like roll with them. But you know what? For most of you, I love you, but you won't do them. I mean, listen, there's no judgment here. I'm not hating on you at all. I just know what is true. Because it'd be true for me sometimes too. I'm like, oh, that's a really cool thing. And then it just goes in and it's out and then you're done. You're on to your day, right? So this is why I have live event experiences. Okay, the Woman Wanting More Retreat experience coming up in January 2020. You're removed from, spouse, significant other, your children if you have children, your work, like family, all that stuff. You're plunked out of that. You get on a plane, you fly here to beautiful Victoria, BC, Canada, where I live. And you jump into the bubble of these 2 days with me and 11 other women that are just like you. That are like, who do I want to become now? I feel lost. I feel stuck. I don't know who I am. I'm at the fork in the road right now, right? I've gone through crisis. I'm at this crossroad, or I'm still going through it, and like I just don't know. And I'm trying all the stuff. I'm listening to the podcast, Karen. It's awesome, but I'm still where I am, and I'm reading all these books, and I'm doing all this deep work, and I'm seeing a therapist, but I'm no closer really to who I want to become. And so this is kind of like, think of it like the old. This is a terrible analogy, but I'm just going to go with it. It's the old electric shock therapy, okay? Have you seen the movie One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest? Like, I don't know, I think they still use it at times. It's bananas, but it's literally like a shock to the system, right? Or like when somebody, their heart stops and they take the, whatever those things are called, defibrillator, rub them together, right? Seen in the movies, and they put it on, and they get that jolt to their system and it wakes them up, okay? This experience of the retreat experience is for you to wake up. It's for you to wake up. It's for you to know who you are. And for a lot of us, it requires that shock to the system, okay? But what's really different about this retreat experience that's coming up again in January 2020, brand new decade, right? Is I've actually seen and come to realize that I'm able to do this in a way that doesn't have the ass kicking I used to do in the past, okay? Some of you, it's funny, you'll be like, oh, I want to do this thing, but I saw that video and I'm kind of scared, and are we boxing? Like, what the fuck is, right? Like, I get it. There's a way to do this without having to do this. There's a way for you to really like break through without breaking you down. Okay? So that you are here in this loving, supportive, compassionate, empathetic, understanding, accepting sisterhood with me helping to guide and lead all 12 of you. So it'll just be 12 women, this very intimate experience. And to be able to guide you through this out the other side. So at the end of these 2 days, you will know who you are. You will have the tools to begin to continue to do this work. You will have a sisterhood of women that are like you doing this work, that you do not feel any longer that you are alone. And, come out the other end of those 2 days completely transformed. It happens. I've seen it again and again and again with this live event experiences, but it requires that, right? It requires you saying, I'm all in. I'm going to invest in me. I'm going to invest the time, energy, money, like, let's go, right? Let's go. So if you're hearing this right now and you're excited, maybe a little scared, like, oh my God, I'm really feeling this, here's what you need to do. Okay, there are 10 spots that are left. This is my application. I've gotten on the phone with a ton of women over the last about 3 weeks, 2.5, 3 weeks, okay? Two seats have been taken. So it just kind of goes to show this is not for every woman, but it might just be for you. And you will never know unless you take that first step. So here's what you need to do. Email me. So there's 2 options, okay? Email me, drkarenosburn@gmail.com, drkarenosburn@gmail.com, and say, Karen, I would like to apply for the retreat. Or check this out. I'm giving out my cell number these days. What the hell? Here we go. I simply just felt called to do this like a week ago. I'm like, here's my cell number. Text me then, 250-589-4811. Okay, don't call me. I don't answer the phone unless I know exactly who it is because I just have to be really mindful with my time. So text me, 250-589-4811. Okay, 250-589-4811 and say, Karen, I'd like to apply for the retreat. And I will connect with you from there. And we will begin the process. All right, sister, on becoming you, on becoming you. I will talk to the next episode. A life of more really is one step away from doing the work on becoming you every single day. I love and appreciate you.
To get the show notes of each Women Wanting More episode, including the How to Get More tip, subscribe to the newsletter at drkarenosburn.com/newsletter.